RC Davis Warriors Radio. How nice is it just to be playing? Everyone says you're smiling ear to ear. You just ready to go out there and ball?
Man, it feels great. Like, man, this whole year and a half, like I learned a lot about myself as a person. I went through a lot of trials and tribulations, but I'm here now, so we practicing, and but today felt great. I feel good out there with the guys, and just everything about it. Like, I'm speechless, so I feel good just playing again. Truly a blessing.
You've been doing a lot of solo work to be finally with like a team and to practice as a whole. I mean, what has that experience been like for you? And you also talked about the trials and turbulence you've been to have made you a better person. Can you elaborate specifically on what you mean by that?
Yeah, just to elaborate on that, I faced a lot of adversity in terms of myself, but I learned a lot about myself, and it builds character, especially going through adversity and being able to withstand it. So it's all mental. I didn't let it get me down. I actually made it get me stronger in terms of like my mental, spiritually, just all aspects of life, and just me as a human being. Like, adversity most definitely builds you, but it just based off perspective. So
it seems the goal is to have you play in the latter part of the Las Vegas part of this. Is that sort of just to get you ramped up, and what's sort of the progress that you're making, and what are you working on to get to that point?
Just conditioning and just getting back right in terms of like scrimmaging and stuff like that. Just getting my body used to the contact and, just all types of stuff like that. But I really want to play every game. But it's just based on the coaching staff and everything, so I'm just going with the process. So.
Hey, James, Chris Alvarez here on ABC in San Francisco. You obviously are ready to play, but you're not going to be on the court immediately for games. How close is it knowing that light is at the end of the tunnel just to contain yourself and get ready and get right?
I couldn't even contain myself in practice today because I was just smiling the whole time. But yeah, it's a great process, a great journey. I'm just blessed to be here. I'm just blessed to be in the NBA. I'm just blessed to be an NBA player. Just everything about this is just a dream still. So, man, I can't wait for everything else just coming forward for me, and it's going to be great.
How much did the championship run and being a part of the playoffs in your capacity inspire you, motivate you through these days?
I mean, it inspired me a lot in terms of like as a basketball player, just being able to get back out there with the guys and just learn a lot. But just by looking at the finals and the playoffs and just the overall aspect of it, like I gained a lot of experience just by observing. So, yeah, I'm going to just use that observation that I observed in the playoff games to just put it into my game and just use that as experience, I guess.
Kind of a follow-up to that. Was there any level of frustration knowing that you couldn't actually be out there on the court during this incredible championship run, or did you really just feel like, I'm going to be out there in the future and I'm going to celebrate with my guys?
No, at the end of the day, I'm still a human being, so I did go through a lot of different emotions. I was frustrated, but that's just my competitive nature, just because I want to be out there, and I'm very passionate about the game of basketball. So, it kind of sucks that I wasn't out there, but I learned a lot of lessons in terms of myself and just in terms of, like, me as a human being, so.
It's kind of a two-parter. One, from watching how Kevon played and what Kevon did for this team throughout the playoffs in particular, did it kind of give you an idea of, these are the areas that I will really be able to help the Warriors? And then secondly, I mean, it has been a really long time since anyone has seen you play. What different areas of your game that maybe Kevon doesn't have as a center do you think that you can add to this team in that position?
I say my skill and my athleticism, but the one thing I learned about Loon is just keeping it simple, not doing too much, just playing his role, rebounding, just running the floor, and that's what I want to do for this team. So, whenever my opportunity comes, I'm going to be ready to take the opportunity and just work hard. So.
A little bit of a fun one for you. Steph got announced as the SB host. He's obviously in a lot of commercials and a pitch man. Yeah. Your initial reaction to that, and is he that funny in the locker room as he is on TV?
No, Steph is very funny. Steph is a huge kid, especially in the locker room, and I just love his spirit and just like his presence. He uplifts the team, like even through a loss or a win, so he's a great teammate. And just like everybody as a core, just everybody's just great. So.
Will you be tuning in, I guess, the ESPYs when he's hosting?
Oh yeah.
Did you just take a ton of mental notes during the playoffs? Like, when I'm in this situation, I would handle it this way, or did you jot stuff down? Like, how did you handle sitting there but preparing yourself for the future?
I was just observing the environment, really just the arena, just the fans, just the intensity, like every detail. I was locked in on the huddles. Just every detail matters in the playoffs, and just like how everybody was focused and locked in, and everybody knew the personnel on each player, the tendencies, the weaknesses. So I just developed that type of mindset in terms of like when I hopefully get back in that situation, I'll be able to lock in like them guys did and just be able to be ready to go.
I noticed that you were in all the huddles. You could have very easily been off to the side and, not worried about it, but you took all that in.
Yeah, like all that stuff is going to like everything matters. Like especially if you want to be the best version of yourself. So you gotta make sure you take everything in. Like it was times to where like sometimes I wanted to be in the back just because like I was so mad that I wanted to play, but I was like, nah. I pushed my ego to the side. I'm like, no, like this is going to make me better as a basketball player. So I just locked in on every detail.
How motivational or inspirational or kind of a teaching moment has Clay been for you? And do you guys have any plans to go on the boat this summer and anything like that?
No, Clay is a great inspiration, especially me as a basketball player, because like just seeing him go through his 2-year hiatus and just him going through all those injuries that was very severe, but still being able to just come back and just be resilient and just persevere through that, like it gave me a lot of motivation to keep going as well.
How do you feel physically compared to before your injury? Are you feeling back to 100%? Obviously, I know you have to wait to jump through some of these hurdles with the medical staff, but how do you feel compared to before you got hurt?
No, I feel phenomenal now. It really is just conditioning, just like getting back in shape and just getting right. But I feel great. Like I don't have no swelling in my knee or nothing no more, so I'm good.
You talked about watching Clay kind of go through this kind of adversity, but has he given you any helpful advice, or have you had any conversations with him about, like, especially when you were down and kind of were isolated from the team while you were doing some of that solo work?
Just to keep my mind still, because like it can be chaotic. You got outside noise. You got a lot of people telling you what to do. You got expectations, but really, like I'm a young player and I still got a lot to learn. Like I'm not about to sit here and say that I know everything. No, I don't know anything. Like every time I come into practice, I make sure my cup is empty so I can be able to learn as much as possible. And I just want to be the best version of myself. So Clay just gave me that advice to just be resilient and just make sure that you just got to make sure you just work hard every day.
Being a lottery pick comes with its own type of pressure, but, because you weren't able to play all of last season and all the chatter that you're trying to tune out, I mean, do you feel like you have more of a chip on your shoulder to prove something this season?
Yeah, I feel like I do. I feel like I have a lot to prove, but I don't have like any pressure. Like I don't let that phase me. Especially like as a basketball player, like I just hoop. That's what I do. I've been doing this for a long time now, and just getting here to the NBA, I'm gonna be doing it for a long time. So yeah, that's all I just do. I just love playing basketball. I love just to sweat everything about it. Yeah, just everything. So
Kevon also had some injury issues early in his career. What have you learned? What did you learn most from Kevon and how he's obviously bounced back from injury, but then just rebound all the things he does for the team?
Man, Lone been through a lot, but he gave me a lot of inspiration as well. And just seeing him just do all the just simple stuff, but be so impactful on the court, like they gave me a lot of motivation to work on the things that he was doing out there and like add that to my game. So, yeah.
All right, a couple quick ones on Zoom. Jason Dumas, go ahead.
What's going on, man? Kind of answered this question like 2 questions ago. I just kind of want to go into it more. As just a pro athlete, a high draft pick, you're subject to a lot of praise, and then in turn also a lot of criticism. It kind of just comes from the job. Your personality type, is it more like kind of a Draymond Green who almost thrives on people telling him what he can't do? Or are you more the type who just try to block all that stuff out and have tunnel vision? Because I know different people tick to different things. So what more aligns with your personality?
It's really both, but I tend to like just block everything out because, the outside noise is just the outside noise. Life is based off perspective. So, like, what I base my perspective on is just working hard every day, being the best version of myself, and that's all I think about. So I don't worry about the outside noise and stuff.
Cool. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
William Hammonds, go ahead.
Hey, Wiseman, how you doing, man? Good to see you that you're back on your feet and ready to roll. You do look stronger. What have you been able to do through this time, watching and preparing yourself, and then how do you prevent from kind of being that excited to get back in, overachieving, through this process and kind of remaining centered? How do you make all that work?
Really, like during my rehab process, I couldn't get on the court that much, so I just locked in and just gained my confidence through my reps in the weight room. And like every day, I just worked hard. Like every day, I gave it my all. Even when I was in a brace and like I was just on one leg, I still jump. Like I still did like the ropes. I still did conditioning. I didn't let my mind get me out of my element, because sometimes our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions can sometimes persuade us into doing stuff that's not motivational, or you might feel less motivational, but I didn't let that get me down. I just kept going. I kept persevering, and I just stayed resilient.